y'all, welcome to another episode, and today's another episode digging into my band Halen and David Lee Roth collection, mostly David Lee Roth today. We're going to be looking at CD promos that were given out to radio stations to play singles or album tracks that the label wanted to push. I did other videos on like the 12-inch before CDs. The record label would usually send to the radio stations 12 inches, sometimes maybe 7 inches. But you'd find these in like your mom and pop record stores and stuff that carried like imports or bootlegs and stuff like that. This is where you'd find these, or at record shows. I think I found a lot of these at record shows. So let's take a look. First up, we've got the Skyscraper album, and I'm basically just gonna kind of whiz through these real quick because most of these CDs just have the one song on it. There's not really a whole lot to talk about each individually, really. The first single was Just Like Paradise, and as you could see, much like a lot of the 12-inch promos that the radio stations would get, the CDs would sometimes have specific artwork just for that, and the CDs printed on here. But this just has the LP version. Surprisingly, it doesn't have, I think there's like a fade out version of Just Like Paradise on like an import, which you'd think maybe would be on here for the radio stations to talk over. That's Just Like Paradise. Then we've got Stand Up. The artwork on here is similar to the single, nothing fancy. This does have a DJ fade out. So it's got a DJ fade out version, which is 415, and then the LP version, which is 441. So they gave the DJs a little shorter version to kind of talk over with a little fade out at the end. Then you've got the third single, which was, whoops, Damn Good. Just a kind of plain, there's the 45's got a pretty cool little photo of like a little boy and a girl, but this just got the plain title. Oh, my CD thing's broken. And the CD's pretty generic. This has just the LP version on it, nothing else. Back's just black with the red letter. So like I said, sometimes they would also, those were the singles from Skyscraper, and sometimes the record label would also send some of these promos to the radio stations, that things that weren't really singles, but they wanted rock radio to push or to play. So here you get Knuckle Bones from the album, and this just has Knuckle Bones on it, I think, yeah. So it's a really good song. I really like that song. Maybe would have been a good single, but that one. And then you also have, with no cover, you got Skyscraper, the song Skyscraper. My back's kind of got a bit of the artwork on there. This is a really odd, weird kind of tune. Something that really needs to be listened to. This is one of those songs where you really need to be listening to this with like headphones on, I think, because they play around. When they were in the studio, him and Steve Vai producing this album, you could tell this is something they just were like, let's fuck around in the studio with this tune. And they just did some like kind of crazy weirdo stuff on it. It's kind of interesting, but so that's the end of the Skyscraper album promos. Next we have A Little Ain't Enough from 1991. And of course, you get the first single, A Little Ain't Enough. And this just has the album track on it, no edited version. Back's just got more of the devil thing on it. No cover, that's the CD you're seeing. It seems like they started doing this more and more afterwards. Then the second single was Sensible Shoes. This one, so you can see there's artwork on the back. I made this myself actually, because this one had no artwork whatsoever. It was just the CD in a empty jewel case. This one has 3 versions of the song. It claims they're available sizes, not different tracks. So available sizes, you have small, medium, large. Small is 350, medium's 420, and large is 509. I'm guessing large is the album version. But it's been a while since I heard any of these other versions of it. I'd have to check them out, but that's Sensible Shoes, which did okay on rock radio. And the third song, we have Tell the Truth, and this one has kind of the generic, at the time, this was sort of the generic Warner Brothers kind of artwork with just the the WB logo, which is kind of, looks like it's a bush that's cut to look like the WB. This one has an edit version 435 and the album version 518, kind of a blues rock kind of tune. And we go to 1994, You Filthy Little Mouth, and we get She's My Machine. This has the artwork on the cover there, and this just has the album version on there. And then we get one other single from that album, Experience. And this has, now he's moved to Reprise Records, which is the division of Warner Brothers, but they shipped them off to Reprise, so you get the generic Reprise artwork there, and a pretty generic CD. Just the album version on here. Oh no, it's an edit, I'm sorry. 418, it's an edit of the album version. So they didn't even put the album version on here, they just put the edit. Okay, I promised some Van Halen, so here's that little bit of Van Halen. And Van Halen, I just wasn't collecting a lot of the Van Halen with Sammy Hagar stuff at this time, but you know, you can find all like the Van Halen singles that were coming out at this time on CD as well. I just wasn't really picking them up, but when Dave rejoined them for the best of album, I picked up whatever I could kind of find, which included Me, Wise, Magic. And let me get this out of the sleeve. So it's got that kind of like Buddha monk kind of artwork, which I really like this. I thought that was kind of some cool artwork. And then you got the CD gold artwork. And this has an edit 420 and an album version 605. I'll have to listen to, I have no memory of what the edit of this is, because you'd think they wouldn't cut down Ed's solo, but I can't think of what, you know, taking like a minute and a half out of that song. I'm not sure what the heck that was. I'll have to give this a listen. And of course the other reunion single, this also has an edit 409 and the album version 514. Can't Get This Stuff No More. Just the generic artwork on the back there. CD's the typical generic Warner Brothers. So now we've got two promos, not necessarily for radio stations. I showed this one once before. This is Van Halen's Best Of from 1996 packed in a digipack. I showed this, I think, maybe on my Tribute to Ed video, just where I just showed some kind of like odd stuff I had in my collection. This is just packed in a digipack. Let me see if I can get it out of here. So it's just kind of, you know, this kind of generic artwork, you know, basically letting people know October 1996 this was coming out, and the track listing on the back. And then it's in this digipack, kind of silver foily kind of reflective thing, and it's got the booklet and the CD. Everything else is the same, just kind of a little different packaging. I don't know, this, and again, this is a promo. This wasn't necessarily for radio stations, maybe for record stores, perhaps, to play in the store or something, I guess, maybe. And then I got a similar one for Dave's 1991 A Little Ain't Enough album. I remember buying this in New York at Revolver Records, which I think was on 8th Street. They're gone now. They were busted for selling bootleg stuff in the early 90s, and that was the end of that. So it's a, you know, digipack, and it's kind of embossed with the little devil character, and it's similar inside. You've just got the booklet here. It's the same as the CD one. You got the devil again, and it folds out, and the CD in the back's nothing but the Warner Brothers logo. So those are the promo CDs I have for Dave and Van Halen. Thanks for watching. Check out some of my I have a bunch of other Van Halen videos if you haven't seen those. A bunch of Van Halen interviews are out there on my channel as well. If you're really into the band, I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, and by all means, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear some of the stuff you might have in your collection, some promos, CDs that you have, you know, especially that Van Halen era that I wasn't really collecting so much. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.